Congratulations on purchasing Simple Inspector Team. You're about to become way more awesome at your job. Although Simple Inspector is simple to use, you will want to take some time to set up your account. This tutorial will take approximately 1 to 2 hours, and you will be able to pause and resume as we go along. Don't try this at home or on someone else's home until you've completed the full Quick Start tutorial. So now would be a good time to answer nature's call, grab a snack, or feed your cat. On your way back, grab your login info. Go ahead and pause this tutorial now and resume when you're ready for the next step. Oh, back so soon? I was going to eat this beautiful cupcake, but if you're ready to get started, let's go. Now that you have your login info, go to simpleinspector.com and click Login. Enter your email and your password here. Click the Login button, and this is going to pull up your dashboard. The first thing we're going to do is go to our settings and click on company information. I already have our company's information here, but for you to get started, go ahead and click on edit and enter all of the information in these fields. That includes your company name, address, phone number, email, fax. You will want to go ahead and enter your tax ID, workers' comp ID, and license ID where required. Then click on Choose File from the logo field. And this is where you can choose your company logo from wherever you have it stored on your computer. I recommend a square quality image. So then click Save. And now we have all of our company information stored. You will want to make sure that you add your logo because this is going to be used for branding purposes on all of your reports. You grab your logo, and I'm going to get back to my cupcake. Ready for your next step? Here to discuss portfolios is our resident expert, Kristen.
Thanks, Ashley. If we head back on over to our dashboard, go ahead and click on the settings section, and all the way down at the bottom, select portfolios. This will bring you to our portfolios page where you can start managing the different types of portfolios. Currently, your account will have 2 portfolios set up, Portfolio A and Portfolio B.
And so what is the significance of using this type of portfolio style?
Well, your company may be set up in a way that you would want to use one or more portfolios. A few of those different ways would be by location, could be by city, state, or community. Could also be set up by your company structure, so if you have a regional manager, different types of portfolio managers within your company, or by property type. And by property type, I mean vacation homes, commercial, apartments, and many more. One last way, Ashley, actually, that you can also set them up would be by the number of inspectors that you might have on your team.
Okay, what if it's just me and my small team?
Well, that's a great question. You will need to have at least one portfolio active, which I would recommend Portfolio A. So if you only need one portfolio, then go ahead here for Portfolio B and hit the Edit button. You're going to be able to actually deactivate it by clicking that green toggle, and that will turn off that particular portfolio for you.
Okay, and what happens when we grow?
Well, when you do decide to grow, you can go ahead and reactivate Portfolio B, and then that will be there for your use. If you grow even further, you're going to actually be able to add additional portfolios, and the portfolios are unlimited, so feel free to have 3 or 300, whatever suits your company needs. You're going to go ahead and click that Edit button that we just hit, type in the new portfolio, and the nice part about Simple Inspector Team is it is completely customizable. So instead of portfolio A and B, let's get a little more interesting and type in whatever you'd like. So Miami's a great idea if you're doing it by location, and that's the city that you're in. Go ahead and hit save there. So now you can see we have 3 portfolios. And you can also go in and change portfolio A and B and modify those names to suit your company needs.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Kristen. Take a break, and when we come back, we'll set up your users. Welcome back. Now it's time to add your users, and Kristen is here to help us with that.
All right, now that we've set up our portfolios, let's go ahead and add the users to your team. From your dashboard, go ahead and click on Settings. Go down to Users and select. This will bring up the page where you're able to go in and start managing your users. Initially, you'll have one user who is the administrator, most likely probably yourself if you were the one to set up your account. Now, you will want to set up a user for each member of your team. The good news is we do offer unlimited users for your account. So let's go ahead and start adding the members of your team. You're going to want to go up here to the top right-hand side, the blue button, and select New User. Now you're going to want to enter the new user's information. So go ahead and start with their first name, their last name. Now it's very important to think about the role of this user for the company. You'll see here where it says role, you'll be able to select from a drop-down menu. Once that drop-down menu opens, you'll be able to view the different roles. Within Simple Inspector Team, we have set up 5 different roles that you can choose from. The first role would be the administrator. Now, the administrator is going to be the person who you would want to have access to pretty much everything in the company. For example, a regional manager or the owner of the company. The accountant, which is going to be the second role that we have, is going to be for those users that you want to have access to maybe change material and labor costs or have some control to view billing, things along those lines. The third role is our portfolio manager, which is basically the person that oversees everything and is probably on the ground viewing these properties and making sure that they are rent ready. Then our fourth user is the inspector, and the inspector is going to be the person actually out doing the inspections. For example, annual inspections, inventory, rent-ready inspections. And our last user is the housekeeper, which is pretty much self-explanatory, but the person out in the field actually doing the work, getting the properties, most likely vacation homes, ready to go for your next check-in. So go ahead and select the user for this, select the role for this specific user. So Jane here is the administrator. So we've selected that role for her. If we continue on, you're going to want to enter Jane's email address. Now this email address will be used for Jane's login information, and this will also be where she will get an email to access her account and set it up. And then go ahead and add her phone number. And once you've done that, go ahead and save your new user. All right, now that this new user has been created, the password for the account has now been emailed to the specific user. Now we're not quite done just yet. Now you can see Jane has been added to our team. So our team is growing, and we're going to want to go in and start customizing Jane's account. By doing that, we can simply hit this orange edit button. This will bring us into Jane's user account. Now you can see some of that information we entered is already there. What you're going to want to do is go ahead and now customize. So first of all, let's go to the picture. Go ahead and choose a file. You can add a picture of Jane if you'd like. Great, now we have a picture of Jane there. You'll notice down at the bottom, Jane is currently activated because she is a member of our team, but for some reason, if you'd like to deactivate her, you can do that at any time. Just turn the toggle off to the white position. So we'll activate her because she still is part of our team currently. Now you'll notice, in addition to adding a photo, we have two other tabs here, Permissions and Portfolios. So let's go ahead and select the Permissions tab. Okay, great. Now that we've selected the Permissions tab, you'll notice that we have different areas that you're able to actually manage for this specific user and customize the different permissions of the access you want them to be able to create, view, edit, and delete. Now we've preset some permissions up for you already depending on the specific role that you selected. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and customize additional toggles and allow Jane additional access or deactivate additional access. For example, you can turn on the subscription settings if you'd like her to be responsible for that specific area. Turning them on will allow her to view or update them. Now, if there's something that's in the green and you don't want that specific user to have access to, go ahead and turn that toggle off. Then she will not be able to view properties. Once you're done customizing the permissions for each user, then go ahead and save those permissions, and you'll see that those permissions have been successfully updated. You're able to go back in at any time to make additional modifications to these users. Now lastly, now that our permissions are set up, we're going to want to go in and assign a portfolio or multiple portfolios to that user. So go ahead again and enter Edit Jane. On the top right hand side, you're going to select the Portfolios tab, and this is where we're going to be able to manage the user's portfolios. Now remember, we set up our portfolios earlier and added Miami, which just so happens to be where Jane works. So go ahead and turn on that Miami toggle, and now you can see Jane is rocking. Great, now that we've added Jane to our team, this would be a good time to pause, add the rest of your users to your Simple Inspector team account, and when we get back, we're going to go ahead and discuss inspection areas.
Congratulations, you're halfway there. Now it's time to customize your inspection areas. This is like picking out Lego blocks. First, you need to gather together your materials, and those materials are called inspection areas. Kristen?
Great, so again we're on our dashboard, so let's head on over back to settings. You should know this area well now. And let's go on down to inspection areas, select that, and that will bring you to our inspection areas page. As you can see, we've already pre-set up some inspection areas that you may use. Each inspection area does also include a sub area, so take some time to click on the plus sign on the corner of each area to open up the sub areas, which are going to be the items that you might find within your area or within the areas of the home. So as you go through each area and look at each sub area, know that you are able to customize the name of each area by clicking the pencil. And if you want to change the name of the alarm system, you can do so. And then if you go back and view the sub areas again, you can also actually delete or add a sub area. By deleting, simply select the trash can, and that will delete that specific sub area for you. And if you'd like to just go in and add a new area, you can also hit this blue button here on the top. Select the sub area or the main area from the drop-down menu that you would like to add the new sub area to. We have selected basement. Now go ahead and change the name of the area that you'd like to have the sub area called. All right, and thank goodness for spell check, right? So go ahead and make sure that what you've typed looks professional. And then go ahead and hit save. Great, now our sub area was created, so let's go back and take a look at it. If you expand basement to view those sub areas, you will now see that specific sub area that we added down at the bottom, the sump pump battery backup. So take some time to go through your areas and sub areas where you can customize them to meet your specific needs. And once you have completed this, go ahead and hit that resume button again, and we'll head on out to set up our inspection types.
Now hold on, Kristen, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before we customize our templates, we must add our labor rates and materials pricing.
Good point, Ashley. So grab your pricing list for your company. This includes any labor costs that you charge, and then also any material costs. And then starting from our dashboard, we'll head back over to the settings section. As that opens up, go ahead and scroll down to your labor and materials. Here on our labor and materials page, you'll see there's two tabs. We have the labor tab, which we landed on, and then we have the material tab. So starting with the labor tab, you'll see we have some preset labor costs in here for you. Now I would go through with your labor pricing sheet and review what your different costs are within your company, and then take a look and see what labor costs that we have already put in here that you may or may not want to use and what you would want to add. So let's go ahead and look at housekeeping labor. Depending on your specific industry, for example, if you're in the long-term management industry, you may not use housekeeping labor. So you could simply edit it by clicking that orange button. See this green toggle at the bottom that says activate? If you hit the white, that will deactivate it, and now this item has been saved. However, if you're in the vacation industry, you probably will want to use housekeeping labor, so we'll leave that on for now. While we're in here, this is where you'll have the opportunity to go ahead and customize either the name of the labor, the price per unit. Now what we have in here currently is sample pricing, so you'll want to go ahead and take a look at your price sheet for your labor costs and make the modifications. You'll also want to enter the unit, which in this case for labor, it's most likely going to be per hour, but you could also charge per job. Other examples may be a flat rate. So next you'll notice materials included. So when selling the materials, is the labor included with your cost to install the project? This is a choice you're going to want to make, and you can turn on or off this toggle of whether or not materials are included. So for example, if a new front door is installed, including labor, versus if you just want to charge for a new front door and have labor be separately. That choice will be yours. And then down at the bottom, you can enter a short description about the labor that you've entered. And when you're done, we can go ahead and continue on to the next tab. You'll see we have two more tabs to go through. So select pricing. The nice part about Simple Inspector Team is that you can have many portfolios. So you may have different pricing in different portfolios, especially if they're in different geographic areas, such as Miami. Say that portfolio A and B are smaller towns or beach towns. If that's how your portfolios are set up, you may want to charge more for labor in Miami because that's going to be a larger city. Now this is up to you depending on how your company is set up. You may or may not use different pricing in different portfolios, but this feature is here for you if you would like to utilize it. So now that we've set up the different pricing in the different portfolios for this specific labor rate, we can now go in to the Materials tab And this is where we would want to select different materials that may go along with our labor rate. So as you scroll down through, you're going to be able to turn on different toggles to have those materials auto-populate while you're doing an inspection and you select that labor rate. So as a housekeeper, you may want to turn on certain toggles of certain materials that you might use, like sealant. So as you go through, take some time to go through this list. We do have a large list of materials already preset for you. And in a moment, we'll learn how to add new materials and edit these materials. All right, great. Well, once you've added on the materials for your specific labor, they are now going to be attached. And we'll learn a little bit more about that later when we actually go ahead and start an inspection. All right, well great. Now that we've gone through labor, go back and select labor and materials, and let's go through the materials tab. Again, you'll see we have a large set of materials already included within Simple Inspector Team. This is a good amount of legwork already done for you. However, you do need to do your homework. So again, grab your pricing sheet for your material costs. And if you don't know this, look at different materials that you might use online or whatever source you get them from. As you're going through the material list, keep in mind you can edit these materials by clicking that orange button. So here we are on oak hardwood, and you can actually also, in addition to editing the name of the material if you need, you can also edit the price per unit. In addition, you're going to want to enter what the unit is. So in this case, it's square feet. But if you'd like, you can change it per yard or whatever else you would like to do. Again, you have that labor included button if you'd like to activate that. And you have the option to either activate or deactivate this particular material, depending on whether or not you will be using it. All right, so we do have 3 other tabs here as we continue on. Again, you have that option to charge different material pricing per portfolio. So feel free to change the pricing depending on that specific portfolio. And you will want to take some time to do this because it is very important to set yourself up. All right, so now that the materials are attached to the labor, let's go and continue on to areas. Again, these are going to be the areas within the home or the property where you'll want your materials to be found as you're going through inspections. So you can see here, we're talking about a type of flooring for this material, so that's why we have the green flooring toggle on. So as you go through, if you see any other specific areas or sub-areas that you would like to have this specific type of flooring included in, you're going to want to make sure you turn on that green toggle. So take some time to set up those toggles. Again, there are preset in there for you. You'll just need to modify them or add new ones. Great, so now that we've gotten to labor, your material is attached to the labor. You're going to select which labors you'd like to have this specific material attached to. Now, it wouldn't make sense to have a paint labor include flooring, now would it? So you want to use common sense when you're going through here and have an idea of which labor would be performing the service that would use this material. All right, now that we've set up our material and labors, this would be a good time for you to grab that price sheet if you haven't already. And this will take you some time to set up. I would probably leave a good hour, depending on the size of your company, to actually go through these items, set yourself up for success, because when you're out in the field, you will want your material and labor costs there to be all preset up for you. And this will save you a lot of time in the future. Once they're set up once, you will be able to go back in and edit them if you need to make changes, It will probably take you about 90 days to get your pricing correct, but just know you can go back in at any time or even add a material or labor cost in on the fly in the field if needed. So this is all about materials. Go ahead and do that. Pause now, and once you've completed, go ahead and hit the resume button and we'll almost be ready to perform an inspection.
Okay, we're getting closer to the finish line. Now that we've completed labor rates and materials, Kristen is here to show us how to customize inspection types.
That's right. Let's go back on over to your dashboard here, and we'll continue on again to the settings section. Go ahead and select inspection types. Now this will bring us to the inspection type page. You'll notice this is going to be where you will find your inspection types that are going to be associated with your company, that your company uses. We do have some preset templates in here for your inspection types already, so it'll give you a good base to start with, such as exterior inspection, guest check-in, guest check-out, inventory report, move in and move out inspection, etc. I do have a few extras here that I've already added, so you will be able to add and delete or customize each inspection as needed. So let's go on in and we'll edit an inspection that we currently have. Once you're in this template, you're going to be able to change the inspection name, customize that to your liking, activate it or deactivate that template, and then you can just simply put in a short description as well. And here we'll go and just delete this specific template. And that's quickly how you would go in and edit the inspection name if needed. But you could also go in where it says build and this is where you're going to be able to edit and build that inspection template. So as you can see here again, as we set up inspection areas earlier, here are all the areas that we have set up. You can hit the plus sign to open up and view the sub areas within the area. And this is where you're going to be able to either turn on those green toggles or turn off a green toggle if you do not want that item to be displayed within your template. So take some time to go in and set up your different templates and what areas and sub areas you would like to have found within your specific customized template. This may take you some time, but once these templates are all set up, you will be able to use them and continue to reuse them as you're out in the field doing your inspections. If you don't see a template here that you need or you'll be using and you'd like to add a new template, that's quite easy to do as well. You just hit this blue button here on the top. Go ahead and type in the inspection name that you would like to call this specific template. And you can also enter a short description if you'd like of this specific template. This is completely customizable, so you can have your description be as long or short as needed. And once that template is created, you will then be able to go in, find that template, click the build button, as we did earlier, and that's what's going to let you start building this template with your areas and sub areas. So you'll notice here that we're doing a kitchen inventory, so you're going to want to turn on that green toggle to activate the kitchen area. And then go ahead and click the plus sign and you're going to be able to view the sub areas within the kitchen. And from there you can select what specific areas you'd like to add. Now, if you don't see an area or a sub area that you need in your template, remember we learned already about your inspection areas, so go back to the last video that we did earlier in this training and you're going to be able to go back and add in that area so it shows up here to be able to add it to your template. All right, well this has been inspection areas. It's a good time to take a break, and when we get back we will just about be done and ready to get out into the fields.
Welcome back. Here we are at the dashboard. We're going to go into settings and down to report settings. And this is what customizes your reports to reflect your particular style. At the top here, we have where you can manage your disclaimer. Things like not responsible for errors and omissions, Happy New Year, we're so awesome because we use Simple Inspector. And then make sure that you save it and make sure it's activated if you would like it to appear in your report. Down below the disclaimer, we have a number of report settings that you can manage depending on who you're sending the report to or what you're using the particular report for. These are things like display empty fields, display renter information, display owner information, or inspector information. You also can display a signature field if it's something that needs to be signed. And of course at the bottom here, display disclaimer. Next up, subscription settings. Now it's time for subscription settings. From our dashboard, click on settings and go down to subscription settings. Your subscription has already been set up, but this is where you come to modify your account. So as you can see, we have a number of different packages ranging from our basic of 10 inspections monthly all the way to platinum at 1,000 inspections. It is a month-to-month subscription, so it's super easy to upgrade or downgrade with just a click of the blue button. If you run out of inspections for 1 month, just upgrade to the next plan and we won't even charge you for the remainder of that month. It's as simple as that. Below, we have a number of different options here. You can view your history, including access to your invoice. There's also a tab for current cards that we have on file and a tab to add optional payment. So that's that. Go ahead and grab your property list. Now we really are at the final leg of your quick start training. But first, let's make sure you have all of the information you need. Kristen, what info do they need?
Great. Well, I hope to grab that property list or have it on your computer somewhere because we're going to be using it. On that property list, make sure you have, in addition to the property address, you want to have your zip code, also the homeowner's information, and you do need to include their email address. And lastly, if you are in long-term property management, you're going to probably want to grab the renter information if that unit is currently occupied. So let's head over into the property section. In order to do that, we're going to go from our dashboard and we're going to go right into properties. So go ahead and click that button. And here we are on the property page. This is where you're going to be able to manage your properties. I do have a few properties in here already. So let's go ahead and add a new one with this blue button here on the top right. As you can see, to add a new property, we do have 6 steps, 6 easy steps. Step 1 is entering the property information. So you're going to enter the property address, the property city, state, and zip code. You're going to also be able to enter the property status. So currently we have the property status turned on. It's activated, but you can also turn it off to the white where you deactivate this property. We can also let the system know if this property is vacant or not. So if it is currently vacant, go ahead and turn that off, or turn it on, and turn it off when it's no longer vacant. And you can also enter some property notes, general information that may retain to this property. Then you can hit the next button. We'll head on over to section 2, which is going to be the homeowner's information. So go ahead and enter that homeowner's name or the name of the owners. Also enter their email addresses or email, phone number for that owner, and any specific notes you'd like to enter for this owner. For example, if they live in another time zone and you want to make sure that you contact them, don't wake them up in the middle of the night. So go ahead and hit next. We'll head over into section 3, which is going to be your renter's information, if applicable. And you can enter the name, the renter's forwarding address, This is the address you would want to send the report to once the renter moves out. So you may not know this now, but you'll be able to actually enter this again later once your property is set up. And then you are also going to enter what the renter's security deposit is. Next, we'll enter the renter's email or email addresses, their phone number, and then we'll move on and enter the renter's move-in date, the move-out date, and go ahead and toggle on or off whether or not that renter has pets. And there's also a spot here for you to enter any notes about the renter, such as what type of pet they may have or any specific notes you'd like to remember later. Then you can go ahead and hit the next button on the bottom of the screen, and we'll head on over to section 4. This is a very important section. This is where we're going to select the portfolio or portfolios that you want this property to be assigned to. Now, it's very important that you do select at least one portfolio. In this case, we're going to select the Miami portfolio, and you can do that by toggling on that green toggle. So currently this property is in one portfolio because we have one toggle on, but if this property happened to be in two portfolios, you can go ahead and select a second one. So very important, do not miss this step. Your property needs to be in at least one portfolio, and it could be in one or all. Go ahead and hit next once you've made that decision. And we're going to head over into section 5, which is going to discuss the property areas. Property areas are going to be the different areas that you would find within the property. This is where you're going to be able to delete. Say you don't have any basements, because that's we live in the South and we don't have those. You can also add a new area if you have a 3-bedroom house, say. And go ahead and hit this blue button there. And you're going to get your list of areas that you set up earlier. So you can go ahead and select the bedroom, and they're going to start adding in at the bottom of your areas here. So a nice feature that you may want to do is go ahead and put a description into the box there for your bedroom. For example, 2nd bedroom, master bedroom, blue bedroom. Just to do a little description about that particular room, and that's really going to help you when you're going through the reports to differentiate which room you're in. All right, well great. Once you've set up those areas, go ahead and hit the next button, and you've just set up your first property, so congratulations. Now that your property's been added to your portfolio, go ahead and click on that property link again, and now you can see we would have a new property here. Once you have a new property, you can go ahead and manage it by viewing it, and you're able to actually go back in and make any changes to this property at any time. You can see you have the tabs up here at the top that we just went through. So down the line, if you have a new renter move in, you can go in and change that renter information. If your portfolios change, you can modify those portfolios. But most importantly, on the last tab is inspections. This is where you're going to be able to view all of your previous or current inspections. You can see here I've performed quite a few inspections on this particular property, so I'm able to go back and view them at any time by clicking this orange button here. And at the same time, if I want to go in and schedule a new inspection, I can also do that from this blue button at the top. In addition to scheduling it there, I can also schedule it from our property page on the middle orange button. And in order to schedule an inspection, I'm going to first select the type of inspection that I'm going to perform. Now this is going to pull from the list of inspection types that we created earlier. So I'm going to perform an exterior inspection. Next, I'm going to select the inspector, the person who will be out doing the inspection. And then lastly, I'm going to select the due date for this inspection. So if I want this done today, or I could select any day in the future. Once you've done that, go ahead and save it. And this inspection has just been created for my property. Well, great. You just entered your first property. Now go ahead and continue to enter the rest of your properties. You can do that either one by one as you go along. You could enter them now if you have some free time, Or feel free to contact us and inquire with us of how we can bulk add your properties. I recommend doing this if you have 100 or more properties, and we can provide that service for you. It will probably take you about 2 minutes to enter each property, so keep that in mind, and you'll want to put some time aside to do that. Set yourself up.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kristen. Remember, the more inspections you do, the more money you will make, and you will be working much smarter with Simple Inspector. So get to it. If you need any extra assistance, just go to the Help and Facts session here.
And don't forget, if you have a great inspection that you've done in the field and you want to share it, make sure you send it over to. We love viewing neat things that you find during your inspection. Trust me, you'll know what that means when you find one.